Hi, and welcome back to one of my what ifs. This is kind of like a redo of one of mine because I've had a better idea for it. Now, this will, take place during the Grand Republic times, like during that time period. This will also be a what if Azuma Midori had the Grand Army of the Republic or the Clone Army as a quirk. Now, for force powers, they're just going to be replaced with quirks. So most people have quirks. That some people don't use them because of their jobs. Some people do because of their jobs. It's kind of like just the regular thing. But because of how wide the galaxy is, quirk regulations have become very minuscule compared to the earlier times where they only had to you know worry about their planet. Now they have to worry about hundreds of thousands. So, in the beginning of Izuku's life, nothing's really different. He still goes to school and everything on a planet that's kind of like Earth. He still goes to school. Everybody, excuse me, doesn't bully him because he doesn't have a quirk, because they don't know if he does or doesn't. Nobody really knows if they're going to or if they aren't. It's still not that common to not have a quirk, but it's not like it doesn't happen. Excuse me. I'm kind of just searching up all orders for the oh, finally. Um. Oh. Well, now this is interesting. So the five known orders for the Grand Army of the Republic. I'm going to list them out just so that you know what I mean when I use them. Order 4: in the event of the Supreme Commander or Chancellor being incapacitated, overall the Grand Army of the Republic command shall fall to the Vice Chair of the Senate until a successor is appointed or alternative authority identified as outlined in Section 6, Order 5. In the event that that's the sorry that in the event of the Supreme Chancellor being declared unfit to issue orders as defined in Section 6, the Chief of the Defense Staff shall assume Grand Army Republic Command and form a strategic cell of senior officers. See page 1173, paragraph 4, until a successor is appointed or alternative authority identified. Order 37: capture of a single wanted individual through the mass arrest of the threatened execution of a civilian population. Holy crap. Follow-up directives include scenarios, I think, yes, scenarios for body disposal of civilian casualties and suppression of communications. So Order 37 is practically just a max execution of an entire planet or populace. Order 65: in the event of either a majority of the Senate declaring the Supreme Commander or Chancellor to be unfit to issue orders, the Security Chancellor declaring him or her to be unfit to issue orders, and an authenticated order being received by the JRA. Command shall be authorized to detain the Supreme Commander with lethal force if necessary. The command of the JRA shall fall to the acting chancellor until a successor is appointed or alternative authority identified as outlined in Section 6. So practically just a more defined version of 4, of Order 4. Now, Order 66, we all know what that is. In the event of the Jedi officers acting against the interests of the public, blah 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 blah. You get what I mean? The reason why that was appointed is because, some Jedi did turn to the dark side and they were still, thought to be Jedi. And so if there were too many of them and if they actually fought against the Republic and because of how powerful they were, it was, pointed that, this should actually be in order. Now, after that brief summary, let's get to the story. Now, when it's Izuku's time to, have his quirk, so it's like, oh, it's 4 a.m. Yeah, just trying to stay up pretty late. So Izuku, when it's time for him to get his quirk, they kind of do the same thing that the Jedi did. They go to the doctors and they check if he has a quirk, as do most kids during this time period. Now, for the real thing that the Jedi's did, they the children after birth were tested to see if their midichlorian DNA was above about 5,000 or near 15,000. That was an amount of midichlorians in the DNA that a human being or a sentient animal must have for it to be brought into the Jedi Order. Now, if they did have that much, they were taken away from their families and, taught how to be a Jedi. Kind of like how the soldiers for the UNSC, like the Spartans were, or the Spartan Force, I don't remember. Anyway, now, Izuku gets his quirk tested, and because of how powerful his quirk actually is, being able to create an entire army, including everything needed to support the army, including bases, if needed, an entire planet that would, cause the user to actually be very fatigued and almost near the brink of death. It also allows them to create ships, everything they need, like anything other than just the people themselves, because then you'd actually have to. You get what I mean. Anyway, but because of how powerful he is and how unknown it is, there's he's got a quirk, but we just don't know what it is yet. So until we do, make sure he's not in any action to get harmed or emotionally unstable, so that he is able to keep his quirk controlled for the time being. So what Inko Midoriya does is she just kind of keeps him home. Oh, she doesn't really give Izuku an answer to why, because she thinks that if she did, Izuku would get kind of angry and activate his quirk somehow, and because they don't really know what it does, she's scared of what it would do to her. Now, Izuku does get kind of weirded out by this, and just starts lurking around in his head. And so, because of how his quirk works, he's able to choose what he wants to create. So while he's dreaming or thinking, he comes across this kind of catalyst of everything that he could create. And then, so he clicks on the clone troopers, or the thing that looks like a human, and he sees all these things that he could do. He could say, it could be, oh, do you want them with or without the armor, with or without the gun? What gun do you want them with? What armor do you want them with? What unit? Like all that stuff. But then it gets to the part of, what directives or orders do you want them to have? And so he looks at that, and he sees all the ones that he could have. And so the ones he activates are 4, 5, 36, 37, 65, and 66, because 65 is practically just 5 and 4 mixed together to become a little bit more powerful and a little bit, more defined. Like, it's easier to understand. So, after a while, after a few days, Izuku's kind of getting agitated, and he goes up to his mom and he's like, "Mom, it's been a few days. Can I go back to school yet?" And she's like, "Not yet, honey. The doctors are still need to check out what your quirk is." And he's like, "Okay." I was getting kind of tired of this. He's like, "What type of quirk do I have that's so powerful that it takes more than a few days for them to actually figure out what it is?" Now the doctors got some of it so far. They still have like 98%, like 98%, or like 99% of the quirk undiscovered. All they know is that, oh, he can create an army. We don't know what size, we don't know what type. It could be a robot, it could be a humanoid, it could be alien, it could be anything. We don't know. All we know is that he can create an army. Don't know what size. It could be the size of a militia, a four-man group. It could be the size of the entire galaxy. We don't know, but for further testing, we will need him to be sent to be brought back to us so that we could have further studies done to him, so that we could have more in-depth analysis of it, and so that if he were to activate it, we are able to actually be able to subdue him so that he will not cause any harm if he does. And so Inko Midoriya is like, okay, that seems reasonable enough. I don't think Izuku will like it, but if it is to help him, probably help the galaxy, sure. God damn. Yeah. Oh, wait, there's actually non-canon orders. Let me see this. Order 6. Throwing away communicator as fast as possible. Ooh, that would have been a good thing before Order 66. Order 64. In the Star Wars miniatures, the Clone Wars adventures, after killing Dirge, one of the clones wonders whether they were up to Order 64 or 66. Yeah, whatever. Kind of weird. Yeah, so anyway, Izuku being brought to the doctor's office, well, more to like a military facility that's being guarded by a ton of armed guards, as well as being escorted by a group of guards, as well as a few scientists, to a research area. Now, for the rest of Izuku's life, Inko is told that she is to believe that Izuku is dead. He was killed by a home invasion, and that it will look like that actually happened. You might be asking why. Well, like I said, one of the orders is that he's able to put the command onto another person. But Zuko actually was able to change it a little bit. He allows the people to use his clones, but he himself is the rightful ruler of them all, like the rightful owner. So like the scientists and military won't be able to execute any of the orders, but Izuku will be able to. So it's kind of like a joint thing. Think of it this way. You have a game, okay? You play it. You're able to play everything on it, but your friend wants to play it, and so you say sure, why not? But you allow them to only play some of the things and not all the things. Like you allow them to only play the campaign and not the online multiplayer, or only the online multiplayer and not the campaign. Like you get what I mean? They only have some of the things, not all the things. While Zuko has everything, and they still only, you know, uh, okay, how do I phrase this a little bit better? Think of having a robot. It's like you own it, but your friend's able to use it. Now it's not able to use everything for it. Like you're able to use its ability to cook, clean, and everything, but your friend's only able to use it to uh, ask questions like, oh, how far away are we from Mars and stuff. But you're able to tell it to do stuff like, oh, walk over there, or oh, climb up that wall. But your friend's not able to tell them to do that anything. So like the doctors are able to say, oh, go over there and secure that area, and the clothes will go do it. But Izuku's able, oh, execute order something, and they'll do it, and he'll also say, oh, betray or execute all those doctors that were doing stuff to me. That. Now, for the next few years, Izuku's being held in this containment thing that allows him to still use his quirk, but not to its full extent. So he's able to make the armor, the weapons and stuff. So he's been supplying the army with weapons and armor more than they even need. So Izuku's kind of like their main supplier, and all the people are like, I wonder where they're getting all this stuff from. And they're like, I mean, why would you want to know? It's not really gonna help you in any way, is it? And I say, fair point. Now, throughout these years, they've been kind of experimenting on Izuku, seeing if they're able to recreate this. Because if they're able to have an army of kids that are able to make armies, then they'll practically be unstoppable. And so Izuku's he's practically having the same things done to him as Eri did. Now, I'm going to leave this off here, and part 2 will kind of fully get into the story. I might delete the first clone thing because I didn't like it, but... Oh, another thing. Zuku's also been able to supply them with at least a few carrier ships, like the Republic cruisers, but not to, like, 5 every second. He's able to do 1, and it takes him at least an hour to do, and you have to give him at least a day to actually heal from it. So yeah, part 2 might be out in probably like an hour or 2. I'm not really sure, but yeah. Y'all have a good night.